Hi, welcome. Today we're looking at one verse from the book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 38. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. Now, it's a very simple verse. Jesus is teaching us, and he is in this verse trying to tell us that do not worry whatever you give of yourself. I will make sure I give you in return, and that you will not be worried because I give you good measure, for whatever you give out, I will give you fairly in spiritual treasure, in what is true, what is everlasting. He will give us back, and Jesus will give us back, heavenly treasure. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 40 and 41. There are celestial bodies and there are terrestrial bodies, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. There is one glory of the sun, another glory of the moon, another glory of the star, for star differs in star from star in glory. So basically, the glory of the sun is ever living, the glory of the moon is ever living, the glory of the star is ever living. These are heavenly treasure to clothe our spiritual body. And Jesus said that he will give us good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, be put into your lap. I think in the olden day, if you go to buy something and they measure it out, like say in a tin, and if you press it down, shake it a little bit, it shrink down a little bit, like a grain in there, become tightly packed together and can fill up a little bit more. So basically in what Jesus is saying is that don't worry, you will not make a loss, because I'll give you the good amount. I will give you fairly. I will give you justly whatever you give out. And there are two types of giving. Basically, we're giving for physical means, we're giving for spiritual means. So the two type of works that human being or as follower of Christ we can do is do the works that look after physical well-being for others, look after others' spiritual well-being. Now, with the spiritual well-being is the work that is sort of more important. They're like priest and pastor, they do that type of work, and when they do that, God will give them in return, heavenly treasure. So they become spiritually richer and spiritually stronger, spiritually more beautiful. Now, there's one thing about that is written in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 10 to 15. According to the commission God given to me, like a skilled master builder, I laid a foundation, and another man is building upon it. Let each man take care how he builds upon it. For no other foundation can anyone lay than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now, if anyone builds on the foundation with gold, silver, precious stone, wood, hay, straw, each man's work will become manifest, for the day will disclose it, because it will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test what sort of work each one has done. If the work which any man has built on the foundation survives, he will receive a reward. If any man's work is burned up, he will suffer loss, though he himself will be saved, but only as through fire. So basically, when we are doing spiritual work, we have to take in mind these verses, because the foundation is Jesus Christ. Let's just say, for example, you follow certain movement, and that movement is teaching something perhaps partial, and you keep following it. Of course, your works will partially be burned up, because the foundation of Jesus Christ is already laid. And so it just what Paul writing here saying is that we have to be careful, and we have to make sure what we do is according to Jesus Christ, according to the Bible, according to what Jesus Christ is all about. And so that is the spiritual works, and we ourselves can be involved in a less direct sort of manner, because we are lay people. Priests, pastor, they are like spiritual leaders, they are like representative for God, and we are like ordinary regular people. We can do it in a smaller way, because like me, I do this channel that is in a very small way. I freely give the design and fulfillment concept on my channel, and it is for me, it is a spiritual work for me, but it can be anything else that you do. You just have to do it your way, whatever you're passionate about, to do with spiritual. So my purpose is to help people understand the design and fulfillment concept in the Bible. And I don't do anything else. Basically, everything else I do is physical. And so sharing with you one verse, Galatians chapter 6 verse 8. For he who sows to his own flesh will from the flesh reap corruption, but he who sows to the Spirit will from the Spirit reap eternal life. So I concentrate more on my spiritual body, because I still look after my physical body in sort of a lower degree, in the way that I can, like I do swimming. I try to eat healthy food, but I don't over indulge in the spiritual way. Like, some people here in our country, they buy like so many of the physical things, like handbags, shoes, clothes, makeup, things that are expensive, like good brand and good quality and stuff like that. So I try to be as simple with that as I can, because of this verse here. If we are sowing in our own flesh, reap corruption. If we sow in the Spirit, we'll reap eternal life. So I spend more of my effort and make more efforts, make more things for spiritual life. So that is, I live simply, so I have a little bit extra money, so I can give to the poor, or I can donate to some good cause. And that is because I choose to, and because Jesus Christ has already said, give, it will be given you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. So I do not worry that whatever I do for my spiritual well-being will be making a loss. No, I can take Jesus' word for for like a guarantee, because Jesus Christ spoken and it's like God spoken. And we know God is very fair, and we know God is infinitely rich. And God want to give us in this fulfillment time, God want us to be spiritually rich. And so I am grateful for God, because basically if you live in the Old Testament before Christ come, you can't be spiritually rich like in the fulfillment time after Jesus' resurrection. And so I'm grateful for that, and this verse is accompanied with the Good Samaritan parable. Jesus teaching us to be compassionate to others. And that compassion comes in both ways, physically, spiritually. And then we have Matthew chapter 25, where Jesus tell us if we didn't visit the one in prison, we didn't visit him. We didn't clothe the lowly and the poor, we didn't clothe him. We didn't feed the hungry, we didn't feed him. So it's accompanied with this verse. We are meant to be compassionate spiritually to others, physically to others. And so we do what we can, we do our best, we try our best, and therefore I tend to examine my way of living, so that I don't want to be sowing in the physical and reap corruption. I want to reap a heavenly treasure. The glory of the star is ever living, very precious. Even you get a little bit of it, you are very blessed. And then, but imagine you can get it a little bit each day or each week or each month, however much you want to put in. And so God said he gives accordingly, and therefore the more we put in, the more we get. And imagine you have a bank account with a bank, and once the account is activated, regularly you can put money into it, and your account become, more and more and more money accumulated. You're thinking that the same way with Jesus Christ, you got a spiritual account activated with Jesus once you are baptized or once you are converted. Then from then on, you can accumulate heavenly treasure, the glory of the star, the moon, and the sun, and you can accumulate more and more and more and more until you die. And therefore there's a lot of time in our lives where we can do that. If you convert even when you're in your 80, you could still accumulate, and you can still get heavenly treasure. And therefore Jesus wants us to give. Give is giving of ourselves, our talent, our skill, all that we are. If we are of nice, friendly people, we be kind to people who are, lonely or depressed, then we are giving of ourselves. If we have money, we donate to good causes, to the poor, that help looking after those vulnerable people who had no means of living, no source of income, like the orphans. And so when we give of our physical means, we are also giving of ourselves, because that belongs to us, so we give. So Jesus wants us to give, and do not be worried. He will give us in return good measure. And therefore today, to conclude, we trying to give as much as we can. Depends what you are aiming for, but we can always aim to do good. Let's say, once a week, do one act of kindness to somebody, give a little bit of money to the poor, do something here. And spiritually also, perhaps trying to do something to praise together with somebody. Whichever way that suits you and that suits us, then we do, and Jesus will give us in return. We do not need to worry, because he knows the total situation of our life, and he knows exactly what we give, and he will give in return, because only God can do that in such a precise manner. Because if I aim to do that to other people, I said, oh, you give $50 only, well, $50 for some people is a lot. $50 to certain people is not a lot. So that therefore only God know what we give and how much is mean for us. So anyway, let us give of ourselves, of all that we have, of all that we are, to give our time, our talent, our skills to give, and we will get back in return what Jesus gives us. Thank you for joining me today.